Hey Mixers, welcome back to another NFL video. We're going over all of the sides, totals, and spreads for the NFL Week 5. So it's going to be a little bit of a longer video as it usually is. I have a bunch of game bets for you, a lot of totals. I do have a money line parlay. I think I have some touchdown calls. So yeah, a little bit of everything in here, but it's going to be a long one. So let's just jump in after we give away our cash for the winner from last week. Okay, so let's go ahead and spin that wheel. And there's only two of you, but I put you both on here twice. So there's three instances of each name. And we have Tiller of Land is the winner. He said Bucky and Shahid, which did cash. And then Riding with Pearsall every week with you too. Pearsall did not cash, but kind of wasn't his fault because he left the game hurt. So I will get you that cash prize giveaway. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And if you want to get in for the cash prize giveaway today, wait till the end screen and I will tell you what to do. So here is the review of the game bets that we made. And obviously the Monday games have not been played. So, we can't review those yet. So the money lines, I didn't know whether to count the Dallas money line as a loss or a win. Well, it's not a win. So anyway, I counted it as a push. If you guys think I should count it as a loss, then you can let me know in the comments and I will be happy to do so. I got slaughtered on the money lines because I was over 60% on the money lines and I absolutely got slaughtered this week. Stayed pretty much the same on the spreads and the totals. It wasn't a great week for me. I told you guys I was going to bet very, very light this week, and I did. I bet a lot of chalky plays, and I went up 20 units this week on the player props because of doing that. So, yeah, those chalk plays sometimes, you guys, those are the ones that help build your bankroll. And I'm happy to show you guys what I'm betting on those if you're interested. All right, the game bets here, we were down 3 units because we missed every single thing. Doesn't matter if the Broncos win tonight because everything is already chalked. The Chargers ruined both of our money line parlays, which remember I accidentally put in 2 when I really should have only put in 1. So whatever, it's fine. Titans didn't get it done either, and whatever. They're miserable. They're the worst team in the league. They missed 2 field goals. It was just infuriating. So I am betting on them again this week. All right. The player props didn't do so well, but I had a great day because I was betting on a lot of chalky things. Plus, I had a Daniel Jones ladder, which I'll show you in a minute. So I got a lot of units off of that. So they went 4-3. So, I mean, not terrible, but I mean, not the best week. In total, our player props are over 50%, which is great. Now we just got to drag it as close to 60 as we can. 60 is kind of like the goal. So that is where we would love to be by the end of the season. All right, the total NFL touchdowns, week 4, I actually haven't finished setting this up yet. Oh, that's because Garrett Wilson has not played. So we're up about, 1.5, and then we've lost 2. So we're down about less than half a unit, about 0.4 this week is what we're down right now. And then if Garrett Wilson comes through for us, it will end up being a positive week on the touchdown calls. If not, it will be slightly less than 1 unit down for the week. All right, the leans here were pretty bad. We did hit our bonus bet, so we are doing great on the bonus bets. 3 and 2, 60% on the bonus bets. The leans are still over 60% as well, even though this week wasn't that great. Some of these were really close. Like the Quinshaw Judkins one was only 11 yards, so it was super close there. Jalen Hurts not close. Cam Ward not close. Devin Singletary crushed us. Actually, he only had 4, but I mean, that's crushing a 2.5 yard line. And then the others barely, Drake London did great. Rashid Shaheed barely hit for us. And then this ladder here, guys, is where I made a bunch of units. So I gave out this Daniel Jones ladder and also the Drake London ladder. I made about 3 units, a little over 3 units on the Daniel Jones ladder, even though the last 2 legs did not cash, because I had, these chalky legs down below, which covered the loss bets plus some. And then I had the plus money legs hit 2 of them. And then the Drake London ladder to 100, I told you guys you could play that. It's the same spot we took Nico Collins in last week, and he cashed that against the Commanders. And so that was nice too, but it was only 1.5 units because I didn't bet all the legs leading up to it. I just bet the highest leg, which was stupid. I don't know. It was a busy week, you guys. I didn't have time to really laser focus in on everything, but that does bring our ladders up to 6-0 on the season. So I've given out 6 ladder plays since week 1. We did 3 ladders in week 1 that all cashed. Week 2, we did nothing. Week 3, we did Nico Collins, and then this week we did Daniel Jones and Drake London. So all 6 of those have cashed so far this week, you guys. I will start to try to pay attention to try to get some ladder plays every week because apparently I'm very good at it. So we'll see how that goes. All right, here are the teams on bye this week. We've got 4 of them: the Steelers, the Falcons, the Packers, and the Bears. Next week, the Vikings and the Texans are on bye. So that's just for FYI. However you want to work that into your betting. All right, first game here is going to be San Francisco heading to the LA Rams on a short week, but it's just down the coast, so it's really not much of a travel spot here. And, the San Francisco fans should travel pretty well. I am on the Rams side of things just because they are the better team. Obviously, they're the home team as well, but I am on San Francisco with the spread with that hook. So if I think that the Rams could maybe win by a field goal here, then I still cover the spread on San Francisco. Now, I have not bet this, but I did bet actually on the under. So I'll show you what I did later on. The Minnesota Vikings at Cleveland, but really this game is in London. So they are flying from Ireland to London, and then the Cleveland Browns will be flying over to London to play this game. These 2 teams have not played since 2021. The Browns won 14-7 in Minnesota. So it was a low-scoring game. Most Browns games are, especially when they win. The Browns are scoring only 14 points per game this year and allowing 25.5. The Vikings are scoring 25.5 and allowing 20. So I do expect this to be a low-scoring game. I was seeing 21-17. I do like the Minnesota money line the best. The under I would like, but it's already so low. So I just can't go any lower than 36.5. It's just so low. And so I will be staying away from that. All right. Oh, let's talk about this. The money line is actually tempting. So the money line is not too bad. Minus 180 for the Vikings. If you wanted to parlay that with another money line, I think that could be, this one could be a good one. I could see the Browns winning the game, but to me, it's not going to happen. I mean, the Vikings just got beat. They're going to want to try to win. They're going into a bye week next week. So they're trying to get that win into the bye week. I am a little biased, though. I do have a bet on the Cleveland Browns to only have 1 win through the first 5 games, and they already have that win. So I really need them to lose this one so that I can cash that bet. All right, the Raiders going to Indianapolis. The Colts won 2 of the last 3 head-to-heads that they've played. The Raiders have won in Indy 1 time. The Raiders are scoring 19.25 points per game and allowing 24.75. The Colts are scoring 30.75 per game and allowing 20.75. The Colts might have the second best or the third best O-line in the NFL, you guys. So they are going to be scoring a lot of points every single week, especially on a bad team like this. So I see them getting pretty close to 30 again. And I see the Raiders trying to stay in it, but not being able to. So 27-20, that 20 is the best I can do for the Raiders. But that's what I'm seeing for this game. I will take Indy on the money line, Indy on the spread, and the under of 48.5. Indy is a good candidate for a money line parlay, in my opinion, or a teaser. If you want to tease this down to like a pick'em, basically, then I think that's a great idea for the Indianapolis Colts. One thing about the Colts, you guys, is that they cover when they're favorites, especially when they're at home. So I do like this one for them. All right, New York Giants at New Orleans. So this one is the one that everyone's going to be divided on, right? The public are going to be heavy on the Giants, and the sharps are going to be really heavy on the Saints. And so I don't expect this line to move that much. If it does, I would be surprised. But if anything, it might open up a little bit so that you have to lay like an extra point with the Giants, just because I expect so many people to be betting on that. But I don't think the line moves. They've played 3 times recently, going back to 2021, and the Saints won the 2 most recent games. One was in New Orleans and one in New York. The totals were low, and that is where I'm going here. So the Saints are only scoring 16.5 points per game and allowing 30.25. The Giants are only scoring 18.25 points per game and allowing 25.25. So I see them both scoring, like this could be both of their highest scoring games, like one of them. So 21-17 is kind of the score I'm seeing, but I am on the Giants side. So I know that New Orleans is playing at home, but guess what? They were playing at home week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals, who aren't really a fantastic team either. And I was on the Saints, and I was getting like plus 6.5 or something crazy like that, and they did not cover. So I think that the Giants, I said this last week, that the New Orleans Saints have been taking really good care of the ball, like crazy good care of the ball. and that I could see them having a really bad turnover game soon. And it didn't happen against the Bills. So I think it could happen here against the Giants, who have an insane pass rush and just a pretty good defense in general. I think that they get some turnovers here, and I think that leads to them winning the game and probably winning the game by at least a field goal, but probably closer to a touchdown. That's what I'm thinking. All right, Dallas at the New York Jets. Cowboys have won 20-10 in Dallas in 2023. That's the most recent time that they played. The Cowboys are scoring 24.7 points per game and allowing 30.7. The Jets are scoring 23 points per game and allowing 31. So I think this sets up perfectly for like 26-24, 27-24, something right in there in the mid-20s. And so I do think it goes over the total. I think it gets close to 50. We obviously, the Jets have not played yet on Monday night, so we don't know what they're looking like there. But I think that the Cowboys defense is just so bad that they're going to allow points for everybody. But their offense is good enough. Like, Dak is a pretty good quarterback. And I think that they're good enough that they're also going to be able to put up at least 21 points, like 3 touchdowns on anybody. Not anybody, but mostly anybody. So I do think this is going to lead to an over on the total. All right, Denver at Philadelphia. So Denver has not played yet tonight. They're expected to beat the Bengals by a lot. The spread's 7. The spread in this game is 4.5. The Eagles won 30-13 in Denver in 2021. That's the most recent time these two teams played. The Broncos are scoring 22.7 points per game and allowing 21.3. The Eagles are scoring 27 points per game and allowing 22. So I see like 27-21 here. Maybe even worse. Denver, I said this in the last video, but Denver is a team that takes a second to get rolling. Similar to the Bengals, where like they start out bad, then they get rolling and they really rumble, into a good end of the season. That's what they did last year. It took them all the way to the playoffs. So I do think Denver's going to look a lot better tonight against the Bengals. And then I think that they look decent against the Eagles, but I just don't think they can pull off a win. The Eagles right now looking like the best team in the NFL. Right now they're doing exactly what Kansas City does every year, which is barely win games. Don't go all out. Don't show everything you have. Don't wear your players out, and just barely win games, and then save your players for the playoffs. That's what Kansas City does every single year, and it worked for them really well last year when they won 10 one-possession games. I think the Eagles that's going to be the Eagles this year. They're going to win 10 one-possession games. So they're probably not going to cover a ton of spreads like they shouldn't have covered against the Rams a couple weeks ago, but they did. But that's just what I think. So I do think they'll cover this spread, though. So I'm on Philly at -4.5 on the spread. All right, Miami at Carolina. Dolphins have won twice in Miami, 42-21 and 33-10. But this is a different Dolphins team. They are not clicking. We haven't seen the game that they're playing tonight against the Jets. But I do think that if they lose that game, they're going to go on the road and try to put up a really good game here. I actually got the Dolphins early, I think -1.5 in the summer. And it was 4.5 on the look-ahead line last week. But now it's 1.5. So, but I'm going to switch to the Carolina Panthers. So I already made that bet, -1.5 for the Dolphins. That was a bet I made in the summer. But that's not what I'm liking for this game. I'm liking Carolina to get up at home again like they did against the Falcons. The Miami Dolphins are a much easier team than the Falcons to get up against. And I don't even know if we're going to be seeing Bryce Young in this game because, Andy Dalton did come out at the end of that last one, and he didn't really look that good. But by the way, Bryce Young barely cleared a line for me that I needed by 1 yard. I took a chalky line on Bryce Young at 149.5, and he ended with exactly 150 on some places, 151 in some places. So I don't know, but either way, 1 or 2 yards, he barely cashed an important bet for me. Anyway, so we'll take Carolina moneyline, Carolina +1.5, and the over 44.5. But I like the over the best because I think Carolina just showed they can put up 30 points at home on the Falcons, who have a much better defense than the Miami Dolphins. So I think that they can at least get 25, right around there. And then I think the Dolphins just have a really good offense. They just need to put it together. So I think they can also put up some points here. I think it goes over the total. Houston at Baltimore. So this is the one that everybody's fighting over right now because Houston obviously just did get a win at home, but it was an ugly win, man, against the worst team in the NFL. And the Ravens have just looked like crap, and their defense has just so many injuries. So a lot of people on the Texans, that will not be me, though. I'm taking Baltimore. I think this is a teaser candidate. You can tease it down just for a pick'em for the Ravens to win the game, basically. Or I guess you could just take the money line there, whatever pays the best. And then I am leaning over, though, because I think that the Ravens allow the Texans to score, even though they haven't really been scoring. And then I think the Ravens can score as well. I do think the Ravens actually put the hammer down in this one. They put up a ton of points. The Texans just can't keep up. I know that this is the number one defense in the NFL, like right now at allowing points, but I just can't. I can't bet the Texans after the first couple of weeks of this season. All right, Tennessee at Arizona. I told you we were betting Tennessee again, and I'm doing it. So I'm not going to put them in a teaser. I'm not going to let them ruin anything, like any big bets for me. I'm just going to do one little side bet on the spread. That's it. So the spread's 9.5. Wish I was getting 10 here, but I'll take the 9.5. I probably will not sprinkle on the money line. Actually, you know what? Knowing me, I'm going to do it. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line plus 400. Like, that's happening because I told you already last video, I need the Arizona Cardinals to win this game to cash a bet for me, where I bet that they would have 3 wins in the first 5 weeks, and they have 2. They have 2 wins. So I need them to get a third. And so I probably will sprinkle on this money line here, just to hedge a little bit on that bet. All right, Tampa Bay at Seattle. This one is a matchup that the Bucs won 22-16 in Tampa Bay a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. The Bucs are scoring 24.25 points per game and allowing 24.25. And the Seahawks are scoring 27.75 and allowing 16.75. So this is the 24-23 game. This is going to come down to 1 point, basically is what I think. So I do like the over. I do like Seattle on the spread and Tampa Bay on the money line because I do think it's going to be that close of a game. All right, Detroit and Cincinnati. I like Detroit early, and I don't want this if the spread opens up. This is a teaser candidate for me. I tried to put this in a teaser, but they wouldn't let me tease it because the Bengals haven't played on Monday, and so they're just hedging, so they won't let anyone bet on that yet. Like, there's no alt spread lines out here for these teams that I was able to find. But the Lions are scoring 34.25 points per game and allowing 22. Bengals are scoring 19.3 points per game and allowing 30.3. So I see a 31-21 game. That's 10. So give me Detroit on the 8.5 spread, Detroit on the money line. You could put Detroit in a money line parlay if you want to, but I just think it's really juiced. So I was having a hard time getting to plus money on a money line parlay this week, but I did do it. So I'll show you what I did there. But I didn't end up taking any of the heavy favorites. All right, Washington at the Chargers. Chargers won this matchup 20-16 in DC in 2021. That's the last time these two teams played. So obviously, different players on these teams. Justin Herbert was there, but Jaden Daniels was not, and he might not be there for this game either. So Chargers are scoring 22 points per game and allowing 17.75. Commanders are scoring 26.75 and allowing 22.75. Commanders have lost all their away games and won all their home games. So that is just a fun fact. I didn't see anything similar like that on any of the other teams. I might have just missed it, though. So I think a lower scoring game, 21-20, like a close game, lower scoring. So I'll take Chargers money line, Washington spread. So I'm really threading the needle on a couple of these games here. And, I haven't really been right on those. So take that into account. But I like the under 47.5, and I like the under better than anything else. All right, New England at Buffalo. Home teams have won in the past 5 head-to-heads between these two teams. For some reason, the Patriots just always give the Buffalo Bills a hard time, and I don't know why. But the Bills are scoring 33.25 points per game and allowing 22.5. Patriots are scoring 25.5 points per game and allowing 20.25. So I see a 27-24. I do think both teams are going to be able to score. We just saw the Saints play the Bills really close. Even though this is a home game for the Bills, the spreads in New York have been 3, 6, and 12 between these two teams. So 8.5, I'm kind of leaning towards the Patriots there. So give me Buffalo on the money line and Patriots on the spread. Give me the over 49.5. And then maybe consider putting New England in a teaser or Buffalo in a teaser. I kind of like either side of that teaser. So I may end up putting one of these teams in a teaser. All right, Kansas City at Jacksonville. The Chiefs have won the last 3 head-to-heads going back to 2022. I don't know why they can't win this one here as well. So the totals in Jacksonville have been high, 40 plus in those 3 head-to-heads. Jaguars are only scoring 24 points per game, though, this year and allowing 18. Chiefs are scoring 24.25 points per game and allowing 19. So almost identical numbers here. So I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. 24-17 is what I'm saying. And so that gives me Kansas City on the money line, Kansas City on the spread, and the under 45.5. And I like the under best, but I also like Kansas City on the money line. So here's what I did. So normally, if I don't display units, it's probably going to be a half a unit, just so you know. But Tennessee plus 9.5 at Arizona, we're doing a half unit there. San Francisco at the Rams, under 47.5, half unit there. The New York Giants at the New Orleans Saints, under 41.5, half unit there. Chiefs at Jacksonville, under 45.5, half unit there. So all unders, I didn't notice till just now. We're doing a money line parlay, plus 109 for the Colts to beat the Raiders at home, and the Chiefs to go beat the Jaguars, which they've done in the last 3 head-to-heads. Maybe they can, maybe they can't, but that's my only money line parlay that I was able to get plus money out of, because those other favorites that I liked are so heavily juiced. But I might try and do a teaser later on. I do like this touchdown parlay here with Jonathan Taylor minus 210 and J.K. Dobbins minus 130. This J.K. Dobbins prop, though, is for tonight's game. So it's for week 4. It's not for week 5. So just keep that in mind. Plus 161 there. And then I have an alt total parlay with some of the totals that I liked, but I wanted to get a better number. So I got plus 188 for this. So I took the Miami and Carolina total down to 38.5 and then went over. I think both teams can at least put up 20 points here. Tampa Bay and Seattle over 38.5. I think both of those teams can put up 20 points. Washington and the Chargers under 54. So I moved that total up and then took the under because the Chargers have been playing to the under. But if Jaden Daniels does end up playing, he does have an arm, and I don't know if the Chargers can keep him down. So I also staked like all of these alt totals separately, but I only put 1/10 of a unit on there. I don't know why. I probably should have done like a full unit on each of those legs, but that's just what I did. I think I don't even know what I was thinking, but that's what I did, so I put it on here. So if you want to get in for the cash giveaway today, you can either let me know 2 of the plays that are just normal plays, which is like the top 4 plays on the board. So choose 2 of those, or you can choose 1 of the plus money plays. So any of the parlays as your best bet. So let me know in the comments what you like, either 1 of the parlays or 2 of the bets above those, like the totals there or the Tennessee spread. And if you're right, then you'll be in for the cash giveaway for this week that we will give away probably on the Thursday video. Well, no, we can't give it away until these games have been played. So yeah, it'll probably be next Monday's video or this video next week, that's going to come out for the game plays for, all of week 6. So yeah, here are all of my leans on all of the teams, the sides, totals, and spreads. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want. And I can't wait to hear from you in the comments. Thanks, guys.